They tell me you're a man with true grit.
What do you want, girl? Speak up at supper time.
All right, you are live over here at Done Right TV studios, and we got Rocket Rob Toland with us tonight here on the True Grit Show. I am your host, Shane Davis, former IMCA Modified National Champion, and my sidekick, Pat Moore.
Glad to be back, buddy. I've been on the road the last couple of weeks. I missed the show. I did get to watch it while I was traveling. I've been from coast to coast watching it. Glad to be back and back in the studio. This is the first time back in the studio this year for me.
All right, we want to plug Done Right. They're the ones that make it happen, along with you people out there watching today. Doneright.tv, www.doneright.tv. Get on there. You got all the racing stuff. You can watch live shows, $20 for a live show at the racetrack. If you want to watch all the past stuff, only $14.95 a month. And I mean, we're talking about 8 tracks, all the stuff this season, last season, all of our shows. That's a deal for $14.95.
That's a heck of a deal.
Yeah.
You know, that's what, lunch?
Yeah.
You know.
And tell your friends to like and share the show right now.
Yep.
We're on Facebook and YouTube, Done Right TV. Go on out, let them know. So, hey, let's take a look to start this thing off. Picture 4 here, Wook. Put that up on the screen, and Rocket Rob, we got the whole family up there. We are going to get that thing going. Anyway, Grandpa Toland, I used to walk by him. You and I have talked about this when I would leave the beer stand every night, and he'd be sitting on the bleachers there, and he was just, you know, a great guy. It was your grandpa, but he was always good to me. He treated me like $1 million, and that was something that, you know, I missed when Grandpa was gone. And then, of course, the man that brought big dollar racing to late model racing in the Quad Cities, your dad, Bob, and then little Bob, who I can't believe how he's doing now. Is he working at John Deere too?
Yeah, he's doing real well. He does programming for Deere.
Good.
Very
Good.
cool.
And then that good-looking guy, Rob Toland, a little bit younger back in those days, Rob. And
Yeah, I miss those days.
that was a fast race car. Man, I love that car. So, you know, we're going to start off back when your dad ended up going into, you know, the Speedway back in the day. He was, you know, really personally responsible for bringing the big dollar shows to the Quad Cities. But I want to show a couple of pictures here before we get into that. Picture number 3, Wook. Let's see that. That was Grandpa Toland, one of the old B-class coupes,
Yeah,
and I was
love
told
it.
that was out at the old Speedway out there on 74.
Nice.
Yes.
And,
Yeah, that was a good picture.
and is that your dad?
That's Dad.
Okay. All right. You know, we've seen him through the years, and it looked like him, and, you know, I'm glad you identified him, but put Grandpa's car in victory lane. And then let's go to shot 1, Wookie.
Very cool.
Take a look at that. And you can tell me what happened there, Rob.
I think that's an old rollover. He didn't do so well that night.
That was not one of those nights you want to remember. And let's go ahead and roll to picture 2, Wook. Now, this is a car I remember. You know, the old Nelson Auto Parts, Rock on Moline, Galesburg. Number 39, sitting down there in victory lane. Bert Peterson, the flagman, you know, of course, you know, Jeff promoting the track now. But, I mean, you've been around racing your whole life.
Yeah, I was drugged everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, when we were kids coming up, I remember, you know, we went up to the Speedboat Park up in Sterling. We went to Mahoney's. We went to, you know, Hawkeye Raceway. And,
Yep.
you know, it was kind of funny. I looked at pictures of Hawkeye when they were building that track, and they literally cut that track out of a flat piece of earth. They didn't build the track up like a lot of people do. And, you know, we got to see that all coming up.
Very nice.
So that, and then the one that I'm real proud of, give us number 5, Wook, and then we'll kind of get rolling into this thing. There it is. Jim's Knoxville Tap, sponsored Dad. I remember your dad popped a motor in his car, and he come up my dad and said, hey, you know, would you want to let me drive that car? And this, we ended up winning mid-season championship that night, and Bert Peterson, of course, for the car too. But my dad told him, he goes, my cars ain't very pretty, but they're fast.
It must have been. Got the checkered.
Yeah, that's right, man. He
I've always heard that. Always
Right.
heard, hey,
Look
they're
in
all,
the
they're all
background.
pretty from the inside, right?
brought home the bacon. And now we'll put up number 6. I want to know what this is all about. This is a race show, but Who's that guy?
Yeah. Well, that was me.
Now, Rob, you took a little time off racing when you had your injury. Did you? It looks like you're doing a little fishing at one point. When was that?
Well, I always loved hunting and fishing. Never
Okay.
got to do it because when you work a full-time job and you race full-time, and there's just not enough time.
No,
Right.
there's
And
not.
so I got remarried, and that was my honeymoon, and we had an opportunity to I always wanted to catch a big fish
That is a big
in the
fish.
sea fishing, deep sea fishing. And
Very nice.
they had an excursion. They took us out, and well, I ended up getting my wish.
Man, that is
Very cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so great look fishing. We'll talk a little bit more about your dad and how he built the Rockland County Fairgrounds and East Moline Speedway up to being one of the top tracks, here in the Midwest. But I want you to take us back to that day in 2014. I'm at Davenport Speedway. I'm announcing that night. The old number 39 rolls in, so it's going to be a good night of racing. And then Rob doesn't show up. Could you tell us a little bit about?
Well, it was a Friday, last day at work, and my work partner accidentally pulled in a loader into me. I build in loaders for John Deere, and I was doing some work at the back of the one, and he pulled in there a little hot, and I got crushed between the two things, and I braced myself and got tore up pretty bad, and that was what happened.
Wow.
And now, Rob, in that the car you were running in 2014, what kind of car was that?
That was a rocket.
It was a Rocket, okay. And so when that whole event happened, and when I run into you at McDonald's after your therapy, and you showed me your leg, and my God, I really left there thinking this guy's never going to race again. I mean, it was bad.
Well, it took 5 surgeries in a year and a half to get back.
Yeah.
Till I could go back to work, until I could go back to racing, and that's all I could think about was getting myself back.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a pretty tough thing. And in fact, that night that happened, I was in the ambulance, and they gave me morphine. And I was in a lot of pain, and then when I got that, I was happy. I called Vern and said, "Hey, Vern, I'm not going to be there," calmly, and he was like, "Why?" And I said, "You need to bring the car home." And I got my leg crushed at work, and I'm on my way to the hospital. And then I got off the phone from him, called the wife calmly, and she couldn't believe me either. But when they give you that morphine, you can overcome about anything.
Oh, man. Yeah, so when, I heard the story and I seen you, Rob, I thought, man, this guy ain't never going to race again. So when 2016 rolls around, now let's look at picture number 12, Wook. And, Rob, you can tell me, is this the Mach 1 that you raced in 16?
No, that's actually a little older.
That was 14, maybe.
That one was a lot older than that. That probably 2007 or 8.
Okay. Now, all the trophies up there on top of the car,
That was
1,
a
2, 3,
rocket.
4. What were those trophies for up there, Rob?
Dairy Brothers, 2 national championships, some oddball
Yeah.
races, but mainly my favorites.
Okay. So that was it. And hey, stay tuned in. We're going to be asking a couple of the trivia questions. We're going to give away a couple of those good-looking Done Right ball caps. We got a Done Right Racing T-shirt to give away too. And stay tuned in. We'll ask you the questions. So when I look at that, then there's one other I want to look at here real quick, Rob. Let's look at number 17 quickly, Wook. That was the IMCA National Banquet. Kind of walk us through everybody there. I know Jim Irwin when I look at that, and of course, standing behind him, who could forget Elmo?
Elmo.
Yeah.
Sean Irvin behind him.
Which is Jim's son.
Yep.
Okay.
And we got Colton and Vern and myself and another friend.
Yeah. And was that in the 16 championship?
Yeah.
So that was the number 3 you'd won. And, it's pretty amazing. I mean, when you won that thing in 2016, you were literally the oldest guy in IMCA. You were 55 years
Yep.
old to win a national championship. And so how many feature wins did you have that year, Rob?
What I think it showed 11 or something like that.
Yeah. And then, in addition to that, you were Davenport Speedway track champion. And what other championships did you win that year?
I
I think
don't
you
know if
won
we
East Moline
Yeah, East Moline or Maquoketa, one of the two. I think we won 2.
and the Illinois State Championship.
Yeah.
So you had all that going on.
That's a pretty good season.
Yeah, it is. It is. So let's look at picture number 7 here, Wook. I just grabbed these out of the archives, and they aren't of you, but when we talk about some of the racing that your dad was responsible for. I mean, there's old Bobby Jackson, Rock Island, Illinois. He went to work for World of Outlaws, but he's gone now.
Yeah.
But that was one of the races he won up there at East Moline Speedway, and we can see by his coat he was racing a Tri-City buggy car. So, hey, if you got any questions for Rocket Rob, just
make sure you comment down in the bottom. I got them up here on my phone. Also, while we're on that, please make sure that you like and share. It helps us. It helps the channel. If you're watching us on YouTube, please smash the like button, and you'll get auto updates whenever we upload a new episode.
here we go. Carl Thompson. Rob says, my question is, does people booing you bother you or give you more enthusiasm to show them you're the best?
That's a good question.
Well, I always said that, if they want to pay their $14, $15, I'd much rather them boo or throw beers or whatever they want to do. As long as I left my kids alone, I was fine.
Yeah.
As far as the motivation part, sometimes it did. Sometimes it did motivate me. I can remember one night in particular, we had a dairy show at East Moline, and they introduced me on the thing, and I got booed, and I said, well, I'm going to try and make you boo one more time, and I ended up passing Ike with like 1 lap to go at East Moline, and I don't recall getting booed, though. It was a pretty good race, but, I don't know that it bothered me one way or the other.
I think when you got one of those big fat checks in victory lane, it's
Yeah.
like you don't care, right?
Nah. No, and in fact, that's why I love, East Moline. Yeah, it seemed like the fans were, you were on top of the racetrack,
Yeah.
booing, cheering, whatever. That's great. They never sat in the stands. They participated, and that's why I liked home. I'd much rather have them boo than sit there and do nothing and look at the phone or do something like that. Yeah.
Like it.
I'm going to put a picture. Wookie, put number 15 up there. I just want to show this. This wasn't the car I'm going to be talking about, but it is your son. 2016, I'm announcing Davenport Speedway season championship. You ended up picking off the win. Your son, little Bob, he ended up finishing second, and Justin Kai rolled home in 3rd place. I mean, that's some pretty heavy hitters to win and to beat. And yet, man, Justin Kai, 3-time national champion at that time, and he finished 3rd that night. I mean, it had to make you feel good that old little Bob rolled her home 2nd.
Well, he had a lot of good runs in the Bell Brothers car. I mean,
Yeah.
that thing was fast, and he is a good driver. And when it was hooked up, it was kind of their car was. They were trying a lot of things, so it was inconsistent. Some nights when he was on, he could beat anybody.
He was on.
That night we had a good night all the way around. I'm old school. When I find something that works, I don't usually vary. So my car was pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Nice.
One thing about you, Rob, I always remember there's different types of drivers, finesse drivers, and Don Bolander would be one of those finesse drivers. But you I always admired because you were a cowboy, man. You could climb in a car. It didn't have to be right on the money. The setup could be off a little bit, but, man, you could always will that thing to the front. I mean, what was that all about? How did you do that?
I don't like to lose.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm a poor sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, I know how. That's all good things to have going on. Sponsors, man. J&J Camper was with you a lot of years.
Long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, Ron, pretty much on every car I ever had, I think.
Yeah, and Jordana ends up marrying one of Ron's
Yep.
boys.
Yep, Michael.
So we got it in the family now.
Yep,
But-
I like to think I taught him a lot. He probably learned more under me than anybody.
Absolutely, man. I'll agree with that 100%.
Great supporters of racing.
DNS Solutions, another one that was on your car for a lot of years. Tell me a little bit about that company.
Greg Dinas and Mark Nitz, they fronted me a lot of money, and they're from Hillsdale, and I'm out that area. I still live out there, and they're just really good people. They supported me a long time.
I want to ask you something. Sam and I, we've talked about this before. The best steak you can get in Illinois or Iowa, where do you go for that?
The best steak?
Best steak?
Better be in my backyard now.
We've been out there to Hillsdale several times, that steakhouse,
Yeah.
Prime Steakhouse, they call it.
Yeah.
And, man, the guy's a little pricey, and I'm okay with that because he's a mom-and-pop restaurant, but, boy, he's got the best steaks.
Oh, yeah,
you
they're
get.
always ranked up there and that, but I like to think I got the best steaks now.
Well, we're going to remember that, Pat.
Yeah,
We're
I
gonna
know.
Drive right past Prime,
That's
and
right.
we're going to Rob's.
All this equipment is portable, Rob.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can. We'll have to test that out one
Yeah,
of these days.
That's after we go out in your shop and we come out in the backyard.
That's right.
You can grill
That's right.
steaks. 22-time track champion. Man, there are people that go their whole life, and you and I have seen it, Rob, Pat.
Yeah.
They don't win a feature in their whole career, and let alone a track championship. And you won 22 of them things.
That's unreal.
Well, I had a lot of good people around me and a lot of sponsors that helped me, and it takes money, and I was blessed that I had a dad that was in the sport, and I never had to start out not knowing, because it takes you time to, if you just get into it and you don't have somebody that knows what to do, you got a bigger learning curve than somebody that gets to start,
Yeah, it does
right
give you-
in, knows something. You got a car that can run up front,
Right. Now, when you guys opened the B&R Race shop in Moline, Illinois, what was the whole thought behind that, Rob? I know you built an open wheel mods. I know Brent Pryor drove Gene Mavis's car for a while. It was probably one of the fastest mods I ever seen. What were you guys doing different than the other people were doing at that time?
I don't know if we did anything really different. We just paid a lot of attention to the people we helped, and we always had good people drive our stuff, because we couldn't build very many cars, so you got to make sure you build them for the right ones.
Right.
So,
And you had a B&R car.
yep.
And we talked before the show. My favorite car you had was a leaf spring car. It was a mono-leaf car. And I remember I'm announcing pretty heavily back in that day. And you won Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And then the next week, you come out with a new race car. And I thought, my God, Rob, that's my car. And I think that ended up going to, did Jim buy that out in Alpha and
Yeah.
Randy Wages drove it?
Yep.
Yeah. My God, that was a
I
fast
even
car.
remember that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, hey, let's check this out. Who was your biggest rival at East Moline?
I saw
Kevin
that.
Shorter's
That's a great
asking you
question.
that.
Well, that ain't going to be hard.
Yeah.
Well, I had two, really, actually. Kevin Bloom.
Yeah.
We used to go at it. We're friends. Everybody thought we ain't, but we're pretty good friends.
Yeah.
And then Gary Webb.
Yeah. Absolutely. You got to be Webb. Yeah. And then Tony Rogers, as I'm sure you probably don't remember me. Do you remember Tony?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And
then,
Justin Velos says he misses you running the car and you need to get back in it.
oh, yeah. Here we go. Don't get him fired up,
I know,
Justin.
that's all it
Stop
takes.
it.
Light the fuse.
There's old Tim Gould. Hi from South Carolina. Rob's great. Tell him hi. So old Tim Gould wrapped a lot of race cars back in the day around here. And Denny Paulson, another great race fan that's done a lot for the sport there. Gary Miller, thanks for checking in, watching from Davenport, Iowa. So 2016, when you come back with a vengeance, Rob, you ended up winning that second national championship. What kind of car was that?
A Rocket.
It was a Rocket, okay.
Yep.
What year
No,
did
no,
you,
no, no,
you
no,
got a
no.
Mach 1 that year?
It was a Mach 1.
It was a Mach 1.
Yeah.
Now, who'd you get that car from?
We bought it from Lynn Richards
Oh, okay, all right.
Yep.
I remember
at
that.
Mount Pleasant, Iowa.
I remember that.
Yep.
He's still got cars to this day. So, the Mach 1, tell us a little bit about the history for the people who don't know who was building Mach 1s and what the whole history of that company was.
Well, that was Mike Humphrey, and he was like, when we were building cars, Mike had his shop, and he was building cars. We actually had a competition who could have the most win cars, between wheels and stuff. He didn't really
Yeah.
have too many late models at that time. Neither did we, but we actually had a board in our shop, and we'd put wins for who up there, and he didn't know that, but we kept. But I was always good friends with Mike, and I know he built a good car. He built lots of good mods and stuff, and that particular car that we bought from Lynn, it has a good history. Mike, who drove it from?
Right. I'm going to have to come up with that name here in a minute. But there was a couple
14.
of drivers that were in that car.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that car was always fast. And then, you know, when you got it, Rob, I mean, man, all of a sudden you pick off your first feature win, and all of a sudden, boom, you got 5 wins in that car, and all of a sudden you're leading national points again. And, you know, that was when I thought, man, this is going to be kind of a learning curve here for Rob because of your severe injuries. And I thought it'd take a while to get that thing back on track. But, man, when you get behind the wheel of the car, answer me this. Like when you got that pain in the leg and the green flag drops, do you still feel that pain, or are you just so focused you forget about it?
Well, normally you would, but like I was telling you before, you ever get a cramp in your leg in the middle of the night and have to wake up? Well, my leg, when it does that, cramps on the front side of my leg. Yeah. And, I mean, it's like double that pain, and it lasts longer than a few minutes. And when that happens, it makes it really hard.
And Rob, you were telling us about a story before we went on air about a time that happened.
Yeah,
tell us about that.
It happened at Davenport, and I was leading the feature, and it was toward the end of the season, and I knew I had to have. We were winning, and they had a restart with like 3 laps to go, and what makes my leg act up is not the racing, because when you're pushing the pedal all the way down, that you're in one position.
Right.
Sure.
But when you're driving on the parade laps or, you know, the restarts, you're working your foot more. So my leg cramped up on the restart, and I was like, oh, I can't give this race up. I'd look like a coward if I pull off the track right now.
Yeah.
So I drove the last 3 laps with my left foot.
Oh, my
I
God.
didn't.
With your left foot.
Yeah, I just, you know, it was a slick track night that night, and which Davenport's usually is nice and smooth and slick, and it was right around the tires, and I was like, well, as long as I don't bobble too bad, you know, they're not going to get around me. So I didn't switch foot to the brake, but I just lifted and drifted, and I made it through the last 3 laps and won the feature.
Do you realize how cool that is, though?
Yeah.
So a little quick story. When I was 16, and Kelly's got an old BMX bike in here, I was taking driver's ed. I was on my way to driver's ed at AADTA. I don't know if you guys remember the AADTA down the one-way, right on the Moline Rock Island border.
Moline, yeah.
I was horsing around on my bike and broke all 5 bones in my right foot.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay? So I had a cast in my right foot. Well, I finished driver's ed with a cast in my foot, learning to drive with my left foot. My driver's ed instructor would not let me drive with my left foot. But here you are, and I thought I was cool driving a street car with my left foot. But here's Rocket Rob winning main events at Davenport with his left foot. Man,
Well,
that is impressive.
If I wasn't leading, and it wasn't that, I mean, the circumstances really fit it.
Yeah.
But I had no choice.
Yeah.
I mean, it was either pull out, and my
Love
conscience was saying, you ain't gonna pull out leading a race. My foot wouldn't do it no more.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where I get asked a lot where we get the name True Grit. And that's part of that True Grit.
That's
You know,
the True
there's a
Grit right there,
perfect-
man.
That's a perfect example of the
Yeah.
True Grit. You're like, there's no way. There's no way.
Hey, we got some done right ball caps to give away. They are nice caps, and we're going to go with our first question here. What years did Rob win his national championships? There was 3 of them.
3 of them.
Give us all 3 years, and you're going to get one of those snappy-looking red and gray Done Right TV ball caps.
And Shane, where are they going to put the answer at?
They're going to put it right in the chat
Comments.
that we're
There
looking
we go.
at, comment section.
3 years, right?
3 years. Give us those 3 years.
All 3.
Just-
Got to get all 3 to get it right.
Got to get them all 3. Start banging away, and you'll get you a free ball cap. You can pick it up over here at Done Right Studios at 1414 West Locust Street in Davenport, Iowa. And before we get back to Rob, we're going to talk about coming up this weekend, Hoker Trucking East Series Super Late Models rolling into Davenport Speedway Friday, May 27th. IMCA Modifieds will be running, IMCA Sport Mods, Street Stocks, and Sport Compacts. Gates open at 4 p.m. Grandstands at 5, hot laps at 6:30. Hoker Trucking Super Late Models at Davenport Speedway this weekend. Saturday, we're going to head on up 61, go a little north, up to Macokota Speedway, Saturday, May 28th. Hoker Trucking East Super Late Models again. They'll be running support classes, IMCA mods, sport mods, stock cars, hobby stocks, and sport compacts. And then they're going to wrap that weekend up at East Moline Speedway at the Rock Island County Fairgrounds. Again, the Hoker Trucking.
Yeah.
So get out, check it out. A lot of great racing. We had some rainouts there for a while, but we're starting to kind of hit our
That's
pace
right.
here. And we'd love to see you now. Timbo Gould, he's asking, does Rob ever plan to race again? Be nice to see him behind the wheel.
Well, he knows already. I contemplated it. I contemplated getting one this year. I've been looking. I'm not ever going to say I'm not going to. I know I still can. I just I got my building done, and I'd like to. I mean, I love racing. There's nothing. I mean, my whole life that's all I wanted to do, and I can. It just. I'll tell you, I mean, this country right now is crazy, and the expenses, the fuel, the tires. I don't know how these guys do it, but I know I'm just a working man and an old one. I'm going to be 61 in October, and I want to retire. I want to retire, and you know, I got things in place, and you know, it costs a lot of money to race, and I just, that's really the biggest I'm reading your posts, and Bob Miller put 07. You're right, Bob. I did leave out one of my biggest competitors, Matt. Definitely, we had a lot of racing together. Matt definitely is.
Oh, Matt Ryan's one of those guys, too.
Oh,
yeah, he's
without a doubt.
one of my competitors.
Well, it looks like, what do we got? Tim Gould, 01, 05, and 16.
That's right.
Those are the 3 years. That's
Ding,
great.
ding, ding.
Hey, tell me, Tim Gould's talking about the Black Mamba. Is that one of your nicknames, Rob?
Oh yeah, we nicknamed, you know, Elmo and I. We come up with all kinds of crazy names, and some of them won't be appropriate to talk about. So we'll. But that was a good one. The Black Mamba won a lot of races and stuff.
All right.
Yeah, we name all of our cars, and they have their own personalities.
Yeah,
Very
okay.
cool.
Hey, question number 2. We got Tim Gould down for the win on number 1, right, Wook?
That's right.
Okay. So we are going to get to number 2. I got it right here. Let me flip it over. And question number 2. Rocket Rob ran the old Have a Tampa Racing Series, one of my favorite ones out there. Tell me the years Rob ran Have a Tampa. We want to see that up there. We'll give away another one of these done right ball caps. And
2 years, right?
2 years.
2 years.
Got to tell us what 2 years Rob ran Have a Tampa. And while we're waiting for those answers to come rolling in, we will ask you, Rob, what was your favorite racing memory of your long and storied career?
Well, you know, my favorite place to race has always been Burlington, Iowa, and when I started going down there, they used to have the Pepsi 100 every year, and that was my goal, to win it. And I mean, a lot of good people won before me, and and they display it proudly of the people at Burlington in the grandstands. You know, I wanted to get my name there, and you know, the first year that I had an opportunity to win, I won, and then got it taken away from me because I was 7 pounds light.
7
Oh,
pounds.
Yeah, I lost about 15 grand. It was 10,000 for the race, all the free stuff that goes with it. It was about 15 grand
Oh, my
for
God.
being light. Now, if anybody knows me, I've never been light. I'm not a 7 pounds light. You know, most people would take that as a compliment, but no, it was a very disturbing thing. But then,
I want to know
luckily,
who's doing tech.
yeah. Well, I don't know. Their scale said I was light, but I've never been light.
Man, couldn't you
Ever.
find any mud to drive through to spin your tires? But you figured you were going to make weight.
Oh yeah, I never worried about weight, but at least I got the opportunity the next year. I brought her home, so I got that done. So that race, I dominated that race. We lapped all but I think 3 cars that year, and
Wow.
and I got revenge and got that behind me.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Ashley Durbin shouting out. She says, one of my favorite guys. Heck of a wheelman. She's got the last name Durbin. Got to be a good gal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Josh Whipple. Hello, Rob.
what's up?
There he is out there.
Love
So,
Robert Miller, you're close, but no cigar. We don't have a winner yet.
yeah. So, What did you enjoy most about driving a race car, Rob?
I love competition, and that's another really big reason. You know, Davenport's been getting the cars. I mean, Ricky, he does a hell of a job getting people motivated and to come there, and he does whatever it takes and gets them there. And you know, I stay away because I know if I go, I'm going to have one. And
It's like a drug.
but
That's
I
right.
do still watch the results and stuff, and he gets a better turnout. But I mean, I just like the competition, and I play Texas Hold'em cards, and I travel and play some tournaments and that, and
And it's still
still
that
not the same,
competition,
but
man.
it's still
We're not staying,
competition.
it's still competition.
That's right.
You know, Friday night over there at Davenport, we had 30 sport mods. We started them all. You know, you just get crazy numbers over there at Davenport, and I think they continue.
It's not by accident.
No, it's not. And you know, number one, I always liked that track. You know, it was always smooth and in good shape. Burlington, kind of the same way. And then they're always improving things. Now, you know, some of the things they got going on over there, they're going to be building skyboxes. They're coming off turn 4 on the
Wow.
half mile.
Yeah.
They've already got it all scraped off. If you came in the pit area Friday night, you see all the dirt that's all leveled out now. That's going to be all in concrete when the weather is good enough to get all the concrete in. But they've got a lot of great plans for that track.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
think that, you know, it's very fan-friendly. People want to watch races at that track. They put on a good show, and there's a lot of cars there and a lot of quality cars. And those are ones you want to beat.
And they've done a lot to improve just continuously. I mean, the surface is nice. The walls are all repainted. They got new fencing around there. They do, and the racing surface is just like you mentioned. The racing surface is top notch. It's not that old blown off, you know, super dry stock car tracks that you always hear about. I mean, Ricky and the guys do an amazing job having quality racetracks.
Always have. Not to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I mean, Rick. I mean, he'd give you the shirt off your back. One time I lost a rear end. He had a rear end with him. Sent me home with it. Didn't ask me for nothing. I returned it. And, the guy's great. That's why he's got people. That's why he's got cars.
Yeah.
Treats you good. Man, he's got the equipment. I mean, my God, how many people have a semi with a tanker behind it to water a half mile
Right.
when he run the half mile? You know, he's got all the proper equipment to prepare the track right. So, how many different tracks you think you've raced at over the years, Rob?
Oh, gosh.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, when I raced for Dave Ostrom, he sent me anywhere and everywhere. I'd come in on a Monday, and he'd say, "Hey, you're going here?" I had to go. I
Yeah.
worked for him. I got to go. He gave me a lot of experience by sending me places I'd never been.
And racing against the best of the best.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Very cool.
all
Hey,
right.
did you ever have a single race that you were never able to either run at or win that you really wanted to? Not necessarily just locally, but anywhere.
No, I pretty much have done, I like to went to Charlotte or, something like that.
Very cool.
Okay. Hey, we're going to go to Wookie. Let's see what picture we're going to bring up. Number 10. So that one is, one of the races that, I enjoy watching every year. Dirt in December. Rob, I remember you rolling on the racetrack, and, you're down there, you're putting it on, and man, you're in the big dance. You're just walking off with it, and the car shut off.
Yeah, we had engine troubles, and actually it was my fault. We'd switched engines, and we had one line that wasn't put on right, and it caused oil deprive to the main bearing and started to tighten up. I'd never done that in my whole career of racing, and I installed I don't know how many engines and stuff. It just, you do things and you change a little bit different engine. You don't concentrate, and you put one line on wrong, and it cost you. It cost me big, because if we would have won that heat, we were going to start up front, not only in one of the first night features,
Right.
which would have gave me a good shot to be in the dance.
It would have, Rob. And,
Right.
knowing you and having watched you all these years, you would have been in. So, that was a tough break. But let's talk about that. Some guys that they pack them in down there during December.
yeah.
Why do people like to go down there for that race? Because it's not the smoothest track. You and I talked about smooth tracks.
They just like the action. I mean, you're going to watch them bounce off the wall, climb the fences. You're going to see some rollovers. You're going to see. I mean, you put 900 horsepower on a track that. I mean, the first year that we went down there, we took our weekly IMCA spec motor and actually timed in pretty good, like 31st or something out of 100 cars, and we were respectable. And then the next year. We got an engine that was maybe a 700 horsepower engine.
Okay.
That was a 350 motor that was more suited for a small track, and I think we had it right on. And like I said, it was just my mistake. Yeah, it was my mistake.
Look at that, Jerry Mackey checking in there. Rocket Rob, go Vikings.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big Viking fan.
Yeah, and old Jerry, he's been around racing forever. He's announcing up at Maquoketa now, but forever he was, the man up there at West Liberty and Farley and all those tracks up in that market. And kind of nice to see that he's still out there, got a microphone in his hand and having a good time. Daryl Caldwell, nice to see you, Rob.
That's one of my buddies. We used to work together.
Yeah.
Very cool.
How do you like that? So that is, a wonderful picture. And then, of course, this picture number 18, Rob, they're going to have you, you're with Brett Root, president of IMCA. And on the left there, now, Speedway Motors, Speedy Bill Smith, not him. Is that his son that's on the left there?
I believe that's his son.
Clay Smith. That's his name. Clay Smith,
yep.
yeah. Yeah, so that, and that would have been 2016.
Yeah.
Man, that's something. People dream about winning, an IMCA national title. And, I got one with old Dino Dan Norton, and Dan. It's something that you carry that with you the rest of your life. And when you look around at the thousands and thousands of people we've seen race, over our careers, and you didn't get one championship; you got 3 of them things. I mean,
That's amazing.
It's amazing, and it's just a testament to how good a driver you are, Rob.
Well, we all wear our pants the same way. I had a lot of good help and a lot of good people around me, and a lot of good sponsors.
Yeah.
I mean, so many I don't even want to get into that because we'd be here for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I went to thinking about that, and I started making a list, and you can't believe the list.
And hey, we're going to give away some more stuff. We got some swag over there. Done Right TV. Team Done Right. We got a T-shirt over there. Got Garrett Albertson on that thing, and Tyler Soppy, one of the cars we sponsor here at Done Right TV. And so this one's going to be a tough one. We're going to go with question 3. What was your best finish? What was Rocket Rob's best finish when he was running the Have a Tampa series? And what track was it at? What place? So I just want to know a track and what position he finished in on the Have a Tampa series, being his best finish when he was running that series. So
with the Have a Tampa series. And by the way, we didn't announce that Timbo Gould, also won the T-shirt, so he's hot.
He's hot right
He's
now.
hot.
Yeah,
He's
you're
He's
on
a friend.
fire.
He ought to know.
Yeah, he should know.
That's
but I tell you
right.
what, that should motivate everybody else to get this one right.
Yeah, Tim, we're going to cut you out of this one. You're not allowed to
I'll
answer.
give some of the people a hint, though. It was in this area.
It was in this area. There you go. And you start talking about, hey, Sheila Ryan. Hey, Rob, good to see you. Hope to see you soon. Man, now Sheila, that's a racer's wife like nobody else.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She loves racing.
And we've drank a few cocktails together.
Yeah,
I miss those times for sure.
And then we got Terry Stock in there. Hello, Terry, watching from Bluegrass, Iowa. And, that's a track that's gone now, Rob.
Yeah.
But how'd you like Old Hawkeye Raceway?
It was a different beast. I mean, they wouldn't quit playing with the track all the time. Most of the time, it was fun, but it was he had this little scraper thing, and it would make like whoop-de-woos.
Box scraper.
And sometimes they got pretty big, and you wouldn't know where you were going to land. But I didn't get to race it a whole lot, but
Yeah.
I wasn't the biggest fan of it.
I was, I regretted that, but I remember you talking about the whoop-de-woos. I remember Kevin Weber, it was either the Governor's Cup or the Iowa Challenge, led that thing all the way up checkered flag lap heading into 3, and he hits that ski jump in turn 3. And when the car come down, bird cages, everything broke on the car. It rotates, and Ray Gus is driving the yellow 50 Precision Performance car, and he rolls by him and picks up the big win. And he wasn't even within a straightaway of Weaver, but the old ski jump got him.
Yeah, the aggressive guys like me wouldn't like that track because you'd beat your car to death there.
Yeah.
You would. And you'd always feel bad. You go, hey, nobody hit me. I didn't hit anybody, and yet, I got 2 bent shocks and a bent wheel, and, that's no fun.
Yeah, today that's thousands.
All right.
Yeah.
There's Kevin Schroeder checking in from Farley, Iowa. An old modified racer there. And let me take a look here. Who's the cleanest guy you ever raced against?
Ray Gus.
Ray Gus, there you go. Man, that guy was...
Shout out. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was smooth.
Yep.
Ray and I went to high school together. He's our age, Rob, and that guy was smooth as glass, whether he was in the 75 car, 50 car. I mean, just a good driver.
Justin Kai's a clean driver, too.
He
Sure
is.
seems like he's fast all the time.
Them two, they're smooth and both that way.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom Sappington says, Farley, Iowa, where you finished second. Rob, is that right?
I did finish second in a show at Farley, Iowa, a big race, but I don't know if that was Habitampa or
I
not.
don't think it was Habitampa. That's a good guess, though.
I think that was a Bush series.
Bush series, right.
Okay.
Good guess, though.
But thanks for remembering that.
Yeah.
That was a good highlight, but I'm pretty sure that was a Bush series race.
So we're going to help you guys out a little bit. He finished 5th that night, Habitampa series. Let us know what track that was at. What track did Rob finish 5th at? Keep guessing, and you'll figure it out. So, hey, if you could team up with a driver from the past, like for me, I always thought, I'd like to, race with, a guy like Benny Hofer. And that would be a guy that I'd like to have a teammate, just be around him, and he liked clowning around but was fast. You have one of them old guys that you would like to have had working out of the same shop with you, Rob? And
I don't know about, I never really thought of that, but, I kind of did my racing as Gary Webb. Gary always worked hard on his stuff, always meticulous, always working hard on his stuff, and I always looked up to, even though Gary raced for my dad, and I was kind of a sour young kid, and thought, man, I want to be the guy behind the wheel, and but I always appreciated his efforts, and I wanted to be like that, and I think I'm kind of the same way.
yeah.
And then I also liked Roger Long, because Roger used to travel up to our track, and he was a fast guy and a clean guy too, and which I've not really been called smooth or clean or any of those things. I'm going to do what it takes. I came to put on a show, and whatever it's going to be, it's going to be.
And you did. I mean, man, that's one thing you can say about you, Rob, is you always put on a great show. And, you talk about, your dad ran those triple 25s, twin 50s, the Coors 100. Let's pop up picture number 8, Wookie.
While we're doing that, Shane, it looks like we might have a winner.
Yeah. Wook's got him. Tom Sappington.
Tom Sappington.
All right.
So he's going to be the winner of the, what was it again?
T-shirt.
The T-shirt. And
He's got a T-shirt swag.
Where can he pick it up at?
1414 West Locust Street, right here in Davenport,
That's
Iowa.
right, the beautiful Done Right TV studios.
Yeah. So Don Bolander, Glassford, Illinois, topped the Pabst Blue Ribbon 100 held at Quad City Raceway in East Moline, Illinois. So that was right before your dad started promoting, because when I look up there, I see Skip Chick on the left.
Yeah.
But your dad continued that on. We had those PBR 100s, Coors 100s, Valvoline 50s. I mean, really, Dick Taylor, you're talking about Don Bolander, all the Dick Potts from Morocco, Indiana. I really got to see all this top talent, and back then you could afford to travel. It didn't cost a lot of money. Your fuel wasn't crazy.
Right.
Tires weren't crazy. And we got to see the best of the best of the best up there. And, it was always a decent price. And I know your dad sold a lot of beer on those nights. A lot of beer. I know everybody around
like
me was
32
drinking.
kegs one night.
Not say it again, Rob.
32 kegs
32
one night. 'Cause that was the most
kegs.
we ever sold in one night.
32 kegs.
And you had to run out. I mean, that was it. There,
Yeah.
you're like tapped out. You got to go down this. Go to Walt.
Wow.
Well, one time they brought in a beer wagon. They called, I don't know who Dad got a hold of on a Sunday, but called and said they were out, and they Stern or whoever it was that was doing our beer, they hurried up and sent a beer wagon over.
Oh my God. And I remember your dad at the beer stand. They had people. All they're doing, they know the beer's going to sell. They're filling the cups. Jerry Dean, one of them, setting them there and setting them there, and they might have 40 cups of beer already pre-poured because man. It was flying out as quick as it came in.
That's right. Supply and demand right there.
Oh, it was.
And them were the good old days. At Davenport, they used to sell racks of beers,
Yeah.
five beers, and as a kid, I'd be underneath the grandstand there trying to get one.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Open bleachers.
Love it.
So, racing, Rob, if you could race, like in the 80s and 90s or today, what would you prefer and why?
Well, as far as my best years, my dad started the racetrack in 80. The year I graduated high school, he had it for 23 years, and definitely
Amazing.
they were the best times of racing competition in our area, and the volume of cars. People could afford it more now. Now you're looking at, if you get, weekly, our dairy shows, we used to get 40, 50 cars.
Yeah.
You just don't see it anymore because it's just so high. They want up to 60,000 for a roller in late model, and even your weekly spec motor is over $30,000. It's
Just
gotten
crazy.
crazy.
So I remember when your dad started that Dirt Track Classic back in 82. Man, that race, it was a 2-day show. Kenny Roberts, who owns Garrett Albertson's late model, was Herschel's boy. He had a band called Night Breeze. So, boy, at the end of qualifying on Saturday night, they got the band going. Your dad had somebody come up there and roast a hog, and we all had coupons from down the pits, and you got in line, and you went and got your, your hog sandwich, and it was just kind of a party atmosphere.
Yeah, it was
People
like
are
an
out.
event.
They're having a good time. Guys got their trailers wide open. They're talking to people. You go down the pits, and that was kind of the atmosphere that, was Speedway back then. And, we had a good time. Had a lot of
Well, I
good
think
times.
that's where a lot of them miss the boat. For me, you'd race, and after the races, you want to wait for the people to come down. If you're going to drink beer with them, or you're going to talk to kids, I don't have half the. Not even close. I gave away most of my trophies. When kids come down, I give them my trophy. If they ask for it, I give it to them.
You just give it
And
to 'em.
they that was half the fun is what happens afterward. And these new promoters and stuff, they want to save $1. They want the lights turned off instantly. They want you out of their place. Well, you're not going to build racing back to where it ever was or close to it if you don't allow the kids and people to enjoy their time when they're there. And I don't mean the 2 or 3 hours they're watching the race. There's a lot more to it than that.
And you know what? You touched on something that I've noticed that I think is also different between the stock car racing and the sprint car racing. And the sprint car racing is a little bit this way now too. But with the souvenir trailers behind the grandstands, people can buy. They can buy their swag during the races, but it's still, there is no replacement to, like you say, after the races, coming down in the pits and standing in line at a trailer and buying your T-shirt from the guy and standing there and engaging in them and seeing the car and smelling it and all of the stuff. And it seems like an awful lot of the time, by the time the races are over, everybody's loaded up and gone already.
Yeah, and you got to make time for them kids that come down. They're the future,
Right.
If you don't, they might be a friend. They might say, I like that number 39 or 07, whatever.
Sure.
But they want to put a face to that car. So the only way they're going to do that is by being taken down there. You need to allow the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And you get the autograph. I still remember standing in line getting autographs and sitting in cars, and you never forget that.
Oh yeah, I was privileged to that because my dad raced, my grandfather raced, and I knew all these people like family.
Right.
So it was no biggie to me.
Yeah.
But the people that aren't around it and they come down, they bring their child down, want want to meet the driver, it's a big deal to them. So you
yeah.
need to make that time for them.
Yep.
One more question. Give away another shirt. We want to know how many feature wins Rob had in his career. How many feature wins? Give us a number, and we got a brand new black T-shirt. You can
Nice.
type it in the message section of the board up there when you're watching the program.
Total,
how many
total feature wins.
total feature wins? Total.
Nice. Also, while we have a pause, if you're watching, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, please make sure that you like and share. I know there's two different things. Like it, and then also share it to your post. It helps us. It helps the show.
Tom, it's a lot more than that.
It's something that we all love.
What did Tom have down? Tom, come on. Oh, Josh is coming to life.
Less than 522.
Josh is coming to life. Okay.
Hey, how about that? Look at that.
That's right. Now we got some players in there.
Nice. Yeah.
Jay's in there too. Jay's a little low, but he's got the right idea. Tom, we're gonna have to get you to more races. But anyway, Dunright.tv. Go out there,
That's
www.dunright.tv. You can buy the program each and every week live, $20 if you want to watch all the past racing from the past 2 years.
Tom, you're
8
real
different
close.
tracks. They are getting close. 8 different tracks, all the past racing, all of our past shows. You can do that. $14.95 a month. So
That's a deal.
check it out, man.
That's a deal.
Love to have you on board. Tim Crownover,
Ooh, a little less than these
456.
guys.
Close. Tim's really close.
That's right, 498. You
Shout
guys
out
in the
to Tim.
400s, you're there. Tom Sappington, 470. Okay, you guys are getting there.
Jay
Let's
Garvey,
see.
also really close.
Something we always ask people, Rob.
A little less.
I'm over there when people are checking in over at Davenport Speedway or Liberty or wherever I happen to be working that night.
Bob's
And
the closest.
A lot of the drivers have superstitions, and there are drivers that only draw with their left hand when they're pulling out of the chip bag. There are guys that when you see them putting on their gloves to go drive, they put the right glove on first. Do you have any superstitions?
No, I know a lot of people don't like green. In fact, green's my favorite color. So
You got green on your car?
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people wouldn't have anything to do with that. But they'd say peanuts. Don't eat peanuts around my car and stuff.
Peanuts
The
in the
only
pits.
time I ever got like that is if somebody else said something and something goes wrong. But I never really worried about those things. I just tried to control what I could control.
That's good. That's good. Pat, you have any superstitions back when you were racing?
Oh heck yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got to put my uniform on the right direction and make sure I put it on. Always put my right foot on first and put my right shoe on first. Yeah.
That's the way to
Oh,
do
yeah.
it, man.
One of my favorite stories back in the day was Doug Wolfgang had one of those little. You guys remember the little parachute guys?
Okay.
Little plastic parachute guys that you'd throw up and they'd float down. They had taken one of those and strapped on the cage. He was running for Gary Stanton, and he went on a super hot streak and won a whole bunch of races in a row with this little character. They had him strapped to the front of the cage of the race car. And he ended up one night crashed the car. And Stanton came over that night and said, hey, what the heck happened? And as he crashed,
Matt's
he
the
actually
closest.
was looking like this as he turned and crashed into the wall. It turned out that little guy got knocked off there, and he was reaching for him.
Are
He
you kidding
crashed
me?
the car. Yeah,
Oh, my God.
crashed the car.
Oh, hey, it happens.
Yeah, that's when you went. That's when you remember and say, "Oh, a guy got a superstition." When something bad happens,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
or
exactly.
some. All right.
I'm not superstitious, but I'm also not going to tempt luck, right?
Now, Rob, I got, I love food, and that's why I'm the size I am. But do you have a favorite racetrack or racetrack food that, I always like going to Boone and having their steak sandwiches. Man, they had good steak sandwiches.
Well, again, it'd go back to Burlington. They had butterfly pork chop
That's
sandwiches
right,
down there.
yeah.
Oh, they were great. And Burlington was my favorite track all the way around. You had it all down there. A nice facility for years. Johnny Johnson owned the place and
Man.
shoveled a lot of money into it and
A lot of money.
made it where it was. And now, a lot of the drivers, we used to have fun just across the river after the races. They had Gulfport there, and
440's close.
Yeah.
That they called Gulfport the
Yeah.
hub of hell.
yeah.
So when it flooded, they were happy.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of boy fun there, and
A lot of boy fun.
it was a lot of good times. Me and Matt Bryan, me and Kurt Martin, man, God, I hope I ain't getting all these guys in trouble. But
Oh, boy.
Steve Bowley.
Right.
I mean, we had some fun, good fun, nothing bad,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
nothing bad.
I tell you
Nobody
what, I've spent many hours in Burlington. I've always loved that place. Tom Sappington, really close at 442.
the other
All right.
direction.
There we go. You know, up at West Liberty, I don't know. They had it was tenderloins. That's what I liked up at Liberty. They had these huge tenderloins, and somebody told me there was a local grocery store there in town that was making them for the racetrack. But boy, they were the best, and
Ding,
that's
ding,
something I always
ding.
look to. What do we got up there?
Cody wins.
Cody Brewster.
Cody Brewster.
All right.
Cody Brewster, you're our grand prize winner. You pick up your T-shirt at where again, Shane?
1414 West Locust Street, right on the way to the racetrack. We're open until 5 o'clock. Stop in and see Misty, and she'll
That's
get
right.
your shirt for
Also,
you.
check out the electric bikes.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice little
Got those bikes
cross section
back
of
there.
electric bikes.
So talk a little bit about the cost of racing today versus the cost of racing back in, when we talked about the 80s, the 90s, when your dad had, all the great shows. And something else I forgot to bring up, Rob. Your dad paid late models $1,000 to win. What was he paying to start back then? I know you didn't care about that, but it was
150 or 200.
It was.
That was pretty high.
that's a lot of money.
That's a lot
and
of money.
$1,000, and nobody's paying that $1,000 to win today.
No, well, they don't. I mean, we don't have the cars or quite the people in the stands that we used to have. I mean, you got so many things going on now. Kids nowadays, they want to be on the phone and games and, things that we need to get these kids back out and do the hands-on stuff. And that's really, to me, the problem. I mean, you just, and the cost of everything has just went up. I mean, like you were saying, or for instance, I mean, when I came back in 2016, I had a car that I wanted. That was Lynn Richards, and I bought the car, the car, the trailer, everything, $40,000 cash.
Wow.
You can't even buy a roller for what I paid for that car in 2016. I got
Wow.
everything, shocks,
Everything.
spares, everything. I walked out $40,000, and I bought that car, and I put new body and stuff on it, and made some minor changes to it, but I mean, pretty much the way they had it, and that's why I thought it was a good car. I was just going to have a good, solid car to come back to, and now you're going to spend, even for a weekly car, probably $60,000, $80,000. The tires used to cost us $82.50 a piece. Now they're up to around $250. And that ain't even that far back. And racing fuel, I don't even know. But these are the things that are really holding me back from wanting to do it, because, a guy don't want to work all week and just, not get your money back, or at least come close to breaking even. But
And that's one interesting thing you're talking about, Rob, is you knew where you had to finish every night to, be at the break even or make a little money.
Right.
And
that was always fourth or fifth. You have to be in the
Yeah.
top 4 or 5,
Right.
and then you're all right,
you're all right.
But now it's more like 1 or 2
Yeah.
for the the same type of money you're going to spend, each and every night. It's costing you X amount of dollars to get to the track, to get in, the fuel in the car, a right rear tire every 3 nights, and you figure all that up, and if it's $400, you got to look down the prize money. Where's 400 at? Where's my break-even point?
Right.
And that's how I always raced and how I learned to race. So,
That was smart.
Yeah. Probably one of my best couple years, was when I bought my big rig years ago. That
I remember
payment,
that.
yeah, that payment was $1,650 a month. So
Oh my God.
I won 30 some features that year. I had to make
Yeah.
my payments, So
Yeah.
Probably run Pat over to get that money
Yeah.
to make that payment, huh?
yeah, there was gonna be no friends. It's about making money for sure.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, Matt Whipple up there. This is 2009, helping Rob at Burlington for the Pepsi Nationals. Rob started 24th and got 3rd. How'd you end up starting 24th that year? It
Well,
must
actually,
have broke something, Rob, and had
we drove for another guy that that year out of
okay.
Waterloo. It owns rent-to-own stores.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, we didn't house the car at home and stuff. We never worked on it. And we just got better as the night went.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of looks that way.
Yeah.
Tim Cronover talking about, loved watching all three of you guys race over the years. Thanks for all the great memories. A lot of great memories on your end, Rob. A lot of good things to talk about there. And then Josh Whipple talking about parking next to you in Davenport in 16. All right.
The magic season of 2016.
Yeah, and it's just like when you had that big rig, you had the toter and the big trailer.
Yeah.
My God, that was the place to be. At the racetrack, you always had something going on at Rob's trailer. So I remember those days.
Well, that was some of the good and the bad. I mean, I was there to have fun. Sometimes I shouldn't have had fun. Would have been better the next night. But,
Yeah.
I enjoyed for the day.
Oh,
Love
that's
it.
funny. Man, I think
I
of some
love
of
it.
those good times. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, and then Pat decided to step out of a sprint car, and he got an open wheel modified, got a rage car, nice car.
Yeah.
Goes out last week, going down a backstretch, Rob, and somebody decided to drive off the track and decided to steer back on, and the car hooked a hard left right into Pat. I mean, it happened at the perfect moment, which wasn't really the perfect moment. And Pat ripped the rear end, trailing arms, bird cages, drive shaft, everything out of the car. So, Pat, your first night, you're out there just wanting to get seat time.
Yeah.
So that's
Not
kind
the
of
way not the way I wanted to go. Heat race was all right. And
Yeah.
I was trying to learn in the main and I didn't even really get a chance. And unfortunately, we tore the snot out of the car. So
Man.
we're gonna have to. We'll be out probably however long it takes to fix it, wreck the chassis and drive line, rear end, and a bunch of stuff. So.
And you got Andy Eckrich up there at
Yeah.
Precision helped me out on that
Yep,
thing.
Andy's
so,
a great guy, and I'm taking it up to him probably Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you got the right car and the right people helping, that's for sure. So
Yeah.
it'll be back.
Yeah.
So, Rob,
we'll
if
be
you
back.
were ever to race again, would you run IMCA again? Would you run an open motor car, or what class do you
Well,
think you'd come back to?
Yeah, if I raced again, I will. I can't own motor. Forget it. You can't afford that.
Yeah.
It would have to be weekly. I would run Davenport and East Moline at home. So
Okay.
it has to be that route.
Now, the open wheel modified you had that you were like literally unbeatable in, and you sold it.
Yeah.
What year would that have been, Rob?
Years. We had 18, 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, my God, I'm working over at Davenport announcing that,
Yeah.
and, it was like everybody's racing for second. What kind of car was that?
We had a JRT.
Okay. And who ended up with that car? Because did you end up buying a show car after that at the PRI show, or what was the deal there?
Yeah. I don't know. I buy and
I
sell
know, Rob.
cars, so I don't stay attached to them. But they come and go. But yeah, that last one we got was a PRI show car, and actually the one that Doug had the year before was probably a faster car.
Yeah.
But
You always had the way of super tuning those things,
Yeah.
Rob, and that knowledge and wisdom you had of how to set up the car. It just put you head and shoulders above the rest of the competition.
well, I don't know that I was very smart at that part. I'd get a car, and if I got it to work a certain way and it worked, I'd just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Where a lot of guys try new stuff all the time. If you get a car and you get it where it's working good and you leave it, you're going to get consistent. The more time that you stay with it, it'll get faster and faster because you know what the car is going to do ahead of time. If you go make changes like Dad,
Yeah.
I love and miss my dad. When I drove for my dad couldn't leave the car alone. So he taught me was I got to take 3 laps to see what I can do. You know, I mean, because you never knew. Because I would walk away from the car because he'd be telling the guys that worked on the car to change things while I'm gone. and I didn't want to. I didn't want to see him get mad before I got in the car, so
Right.
I would just go, and I'm just gonna figure this thing out as we go. If it's tight, I'm gonna run the bottom. If it's loose, I'm going to the high side. And then I'd figure it out 3 or 4 laps into a race and figure out what the car could and couldn't do. And that's where you'd have to go with it.
Okay.
There's an old adage in sprint car racing that you never tell the driver, we think this is going to turn.
Yeah.
I would just
Say, oh, yeah, we got it. We got the setup.
simple things. If it's tight, the bottom. If it's loose, go to the high side.
Rocket Rob, we have been here over an hour, and I want to let you know it was such a pleasure having you on the show.
Flies.
Thanks for coming out. But in closing, you got a lot of fans out there. Anything, words of advice or wisdom you'd like to pass on?
I'll just wait and see. Maybe we'll be out another day.
All right, brother. Hey, you never know. My advice is just, Rob, you've won it all. Just enjoy life. You deserve to, enjoy life. Pat, closing words?
It's great to be back. It's great to meet you, Rob. It's been a pleasure. I've watched you race for a long, long time. Been a big fan of yours, and thanks for coming on the show. Shane, it's great to be back, and look forward to keeping this thing rolling.
All right, man. And we're going to say, hey, we're here every Monday night.
I look forward.
7 to 8 o'clock. So make sure you get on Facebook, like and share this thing.
Right.
YouTube, Spotify, Twitch, all these different stuff. But, I'm an old guy, so I don't know all those different social media platforms. I just talk. I want to close and just say, hey, Davenport Speedway, Friday night, May 27th. Poker Trucking East Series, along with IMCA Modified Sport Mods, Street Stocks, and Sport Compacts. Saturday night, they're going to do it over again up at Macokota. Sunday, they'll be at East Moline. So, hey, support your local racetrack.
Yeah.
Check it out. There's going to be a lot of great racing.
I wouldn't be surprised if there aren't some heavy hitters there. There's a bunch of those guys. The national tours are kind of mixed up right now. I know Brandon Shepard's running the Lucas Oil, and Jonathan Davenport dropped off the Lucas Oil series. And I know all of those guys were down in Burlington last night. Tim McCready won, and so you never know who's going to be in town.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to be in town and pick some of this money off.
All right. Well, hey, God bless all you great race fans. Thanks for tuning in. We loved having you as guests on the show. Hey, if you want a door prize, make sure you get in here to the studio and pick it up, because we give you 2 weeks, and then it goes back into the True Grit prize vault. So this is Shane just saying, God bless all you great race fans. I'll be seeing you around the track. Good night.